Only surviving is not enough. Hello and welcome. My name is Uzma and I am from Holistic Heart Counselling. Thank you for taking a few moments out of your day to be here. Today we are going to talk about something many people experience but rarely speak about openly, the difference between surviving and true living. If you have ever felt like you are getting through life rather than fully living it, then this conversation is for you. So, before we begin, I would like to ask you something. Have you ever felt like your entire life has been about getting through the next day, not living, not growing, not dreaming, just surviving? Maybe you wake up every morning, go to work, take care of responsibilities, pay the bills, answer messages, do what needs to be done, and then do it all again tomorrow. And from the outside, it looks like you are functioning. But inside, you feel tired, disconnected, empty. You are alive, but you don't really feel alive. Many people spend years in survival mode without even realizing it. And today's video is for those people because surviving may keep you alive, but surviving alone is not enough to build a life. As Maya Angelou once said, the purpose of life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And perhaps it is time for us to talk about the difference. When survival becomes your identity, sometimes survival begins so early that we forget there is another way to live. Maybe you grew up in a home where you had to be strong. Maybe you learned very early not to trust people. Maybe life taught you that safety could disappear at any time. And so you adapted. You became careful. You became independent. You became strong. But somewhere along the way, survival stopped being something you did and it became someone you were. You stopped asking, what makes me happy? And started asking, what do I need to do to get through today? You stopped dreaming, stopped exploring, stopped taking chances. Not because you were lazy, not because you lacked potential, but because survival became your full time job. Carl Jung said that I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. And perhaps that is one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves today. Who are you beyond survival? The hidden cost of survival mode. The problem with survival mode is that it works. It helps you get through difficult situations. It helps you endure pain. It helps you keep going when life becomes hard. But survival mode also comes with a cost. When you're always focused on protecting yourself, you stop experiencing parts of life. You stop taking healthy risks. You stop trusting people. You stop believing in possibilities. You become so busy avoiding pain that you forget how to create joy. And one day you wake up and realize you have spent years protecting yourself from life instead of fully living it. There is a saying, a ship is safe in harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. And perhaps the same is true for human beings. We are not built only to survive, we were built to grow, to connect, to love, to create, to live. What if the danger is gone? Let me ask you something. What if the danger you are preparing for is no longer there? What if your mind is still fighting battles that ended years ago? Many people who experience trauma continue living as though the emergency never ended. Their body remains tense, their mind remains alert, their heart remains guarded, not because they want to suffer, but because their nervous system learned to expect danger. Yet, healing often begins with a simple realization: the danger may be over. You're not that child anymore. You are not trapped in that moment anymore. You are not powerless anymore. You survived. And now, perhaps, it is time to begin living the life you never had time to build. Many people have spent so much time surviving that they never had time to ask themselves what kind of life they actually want. What are your dreams? What brings you peace? What excites you? What makes you feel alive? For some people, those questions feel uncomfortable because nobody ever asked them before. They spend years managing crisis, years dealing with pain, years carrying responsibilities, and now they find themselves asking, what do I want? And sometimes that question is the beginning of a whole new chapter. As Viktor Frankl wrote, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Maybe your next chapter is not about surviving what happened. Maybe your next chapter is about building what comes next. The dreams you put on hold. Have you noticed something? When people are in survival mode, their dreams are usually the first thing to disappear. Not because they stopped caring, not because they stopped wanting a better life, but because survival takes all their energy. When your mind is focused on getting through today, it becomes difficult to think about next year. When your heart is carrying pain, it becomes difficult to imagine joy. And slowly, the dreams that once excited you get pushed aside. Maybe you wanted to travel. Maybe you wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted a healthy relationship. Maybe you wanted a different life. But somewhere along the way, you became so busy surviving that you forgot to keep dreaming. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Perhaps it is time to give yourself permission to dream again. Fear is not always telling the truth. Let me tell you something important. Fear has a job. Its job is to protect you. But fear is not always accurate. Sometimes fear tells you, don't trust anyone, don't try, don't take the risk, stay where it's safe. And while that may protect you from disappointment, it may also keep you away from opportunities. The opportunity to love, the opportunity to grow, the opportunity to become more than your past. Many people think courage means having no fear, but courage means moving forward even when fear is present. Nelson Mandela once said, courage is not the absence of fear, it is the triumph over it. Fear may have protected you once, but fear should not be allowed to design your future. What would your life look like if you believed in yourself? I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow. Imagine waking up tomorrow and fully believing that you are capable of healing, capable of change, capable of building healthy relationships, and capable of creating a meaningful life. How would you walk differently? How would you speak differently? What decisions would you make? Many people are waiting for confidence before they take action. But confidence often comes after action, not before. You do not become confident and then try. You try, and confidence slowly grows. Every strong person you admire started as someone who was uncertain, someone who was afraid, someone who doubted themselves, but they kept moving forward, and that made all the differences. The future is still being written. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that their future will look exactly like their past. Because life has been painful, they expect more pain. Because they have been rejected, they expect rejection. Because they have struggled, they expect more struggle. But the future is not a copy of the past. The future is being created right now by the choices you make today. Every healthy decision matters. Every boundary matters. Every step toward healing matters. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you can influence tomorrow. As C.S. Lewis said, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And perhaps that ending starts today. Hope is more powerful than you think. Many people underestimate hope. They think hope is weakness, wishful thinking, fantasy. But hope is one of the most powerful psychological forces we have. Hope is what allows people to rebuild after loss. Hope is what helps people recover after trauma. Hope is what helps people keep going when life becomes difficult. Hope says, my story is not over. There is still more ahead. Things can get better. And sometimes hope begins with something very small, a new thought, a new decision, a new possibility, a belief that maybe, just maybe, your best days are not behind you. They are still waiting for you. And that possibility alone can change a life. Trust yourself again. That's right. Trust yourself again. For a long time, you may have trusted fear more than yourself. Fear said, don't take the chance. Fear said, stay where you are. Fear said, what if it goes wrong? And perhaps fear was trying to protect you. But there comes a point when protection becomes a prison. Many people spend years waiting for certainty before they move forward. But certainty rarely comes first. Trust comes first. Then growth follows. I'm not talking about trusting everyone. I'm talking about trusting yourself. Trusting that if life becomes difficult, you will find a way through it. As Brene Brown said, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort. You cannot have both. And perhaps it is time to choose courage. Stop waiting for permission. Have you noticed how many people spend their lives waiting? Waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for life to become easier. But what if that moment never comes? What if life is waiting for you to take the first step? Many people are still asking permission from voices that no longer exist. The teacher who criticized them, the parent who doubted them, the people who made them feel small. But you are no longer that child. You do not need permission to heal. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need permission to build a better life. The permission you are waiting for may need to come from you. Become the person your younger self needed. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about the younger version of you, the child who felt afraid, the child who felt lonely, the child who needed comfort, the child who needed protection, the child who needed encouragement. Now ask yourself, What did that child need most? Maybe they needed someone to believe in them. Maybe they needed someone to listen. Maybe they needed someone to tell them, you matter, you are enough, you are safe. And here is the beautiful thing, today, you can become that person. You can become that person. You can become the voice of encouragement that was missing. You can become the source of kindness that was missing. You can become the safe place that was missing. Healing often begins when we give ourselves what we once needed from others. Growth begins where survival ends. Many people think healing is the final destination, but healing is actually the beginning. Healing creates space, a space for confidence, a space for purpose, a space for healthy relationships, a space for dreams. For years, you may have focused on avoiding pain, and that was understandable. But there comes a time when life asks a different question. Not what are you trying to escape from, but what are you moving forward? Yeah, what are you moving toward? That question changes everything because thriving is not just the absence of pain, thriving is the presence of meaning. Your life can be bigger than your pain. Pain has a way of becoming the center of our world. When we are hurting, it can feel as though pain is all there is. But your life is bigger than your pain. Your future is bigger than your past. Your potential is bigger than your fears. Your possibilities are bigger than your wounds. The chapter you are living right now is important, but it is not the whole story. As Rumi wrote, the wound is the place where the light enters you. Perhaps your struggles have not only broken you, perhaps they have also taught you, strengthened you, prepared you. And perhaps the best part of your story has not happened yet. Because sometimes the people who have suffered the most become the people who grow the most. And maybe that journey is beginning for you today. The life waiting for you. Let me ask you a different question. What if your best years are not behind you? What if they are still ahead of you? Many people spend so much time looking back that they forget to look forward. They reply old conversations, old mistakes, old regrets, old wounds. And while they are looking at what was lost, they miss what is still possible. The truth is, there is still a life waiting for you, a life that has not been fully lived yet, a life that has not been fully discovered yet. As Helen Keller once said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Perhaps your next adventure begins the moment you stop living only in the past. Stop measuring your life by your wounds. Many people unknowingly measure their worth by their struggles. They think, I have been hurt, I have failed, I have lost so much, and slowly their wounds become their identity. But your wounds are something that happened to you. They are not who you are. You are not your trauma. You are not your anxiety. You are not your mistakes. You are not your fears. You are a human being with strengths, talents, dreams, and possibilities. As Viktor Frankl wrote, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not have the final say. What does thriving actually look like? When people hear the word thriving, they often think about money, success, achievements. But thriving is much deeper than that. Thriving means waking up with hope. Thriving means feeling peace inside your own mind. Thriving means building healthy relationships. Thriving means having goals that excite you. Thriving means knowing that your life has meaning. Thriving is not a perfect life. Nobody has a perfect life. Thriving is having difficult days without losing yourself. Thriving is facing challenges without losing hope. Thriving is continuing to grow even when life is not easy. And that kind of life is possible. A new chapter can begin today. Many people are waiting for a special day, a day when they finally feel ready, a day when they finally feel confident, a day when all their fears disappear. But life rarely works that way. A new chapter begins the moment you decide to stop letting the past control the future, the moment you decide to believe healing is possible, the moment you decide that survival is no longer enough. Every meaningful change starts with the decision, a decision to take one step, then another, then another. And before you know it, you're walking toward a completely different life. You were meant for more than survival. If you remember one thing from today's video, remember this: you were not born simply to survive. You were not born to spend your entire life carrying fear. You were not born to remain trapped by old wounds. You were not born to keep shrinking yourself because of what happened in the past. You were born to grow, to learn, to connect, to love, to dream, to contribute, to live. There is a quote often attributed to Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Perhaps the life waiting for you is bigger than you imagine. Perhaps there is more strength inside you than you realize. Perhaps is more healing available than you believe. And perhaps the person you are becoming is stronger, wiser, and more capable than the person you once thought you could be. You do not stop at survival. Do not settle for merely getting through life. Choose growth, choose healing, choose hope, choose life. Because only surviving is not enough. You deserve the chance to thrive. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take gentle care of yourself and remember, your story is not finished yet. If today's conversation resonated with you and you would like to explore emotional healing, self worth, loneliness, trauma recovery, and the journey from survival to a more meaningful life, my book, Strong Outside and Empty Inside, may help. The link to the book can be found in the video description and the pinned comment below. Thank you for listening.